It is Friday, August 29th, 2025. It is day two of the week one portion of college football. Here in the 2025 season, we have plenty to talk about. Tons of action last night, tons of action happening tonight. My Take 10 comes out, and of course, I'm going to talk about Lee Corso and what's going to be his last college game day tomorrow at week one in Columbus. So we're going to talk about all that today. Welcome in. Thank you all for tuning in. If you're new around here, leave a like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on everything you hear today. What are your guys' best memories of Lee Corso? I love to hear something like that. And let me know what some of your guys' picks are this weekend. Some of the bigger games we have a big show tomorrow too. By the way, I need to very early mention we're live tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. On Saturday. We're going to be going for about an hour and a half. We're going to preview the entire day of college football. Group of five, Power Five, we're going to talk about everything that there is to talk about tomorrow morning. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys will tune in. Be there in the chat. Be active in the chat. We love that. Me and my buddy BJ Loudermilk, we're here every Saturday and Sunday, 10 a.m. Sunday will be live again, 10 a.m., as I just mentioned. But that will be recapping the entire Saturday, and then we'll preview the Sunday games. We've got South Carolina, Virginia Tech Sunday, Miami and Notre Dame play Sunday. There's a lot of action yet to happen here, even beyond Saturday. So, plenty here to talk about. Thank you all for tuning in. And let's go ahead and get into today's show. And starting off with today's show, we're going to go through yesterday's action. And, I mean, you know, as Josh Pate would say, or used to say, I don't know if he still does this anymore, Sarah McLaughlin specials happened yesterday. Boise State gets waxed on the road in Tampa against USF. USF 34, Boise State 7. This was pure dominance out of the Bulls yesterday. They really took control early in this game. They obviously went down. They were down 7-3 early in this game, but ultimately started just tearing it up. And it really was led by Byron Brown and what he did on the ground. He only added 43 rushing yards with 2 touchdowns. Was a very physical runner throughout the course of the day, and just overall put the team on his back. I mean, that's the best way to put it. Threw for 210 yards, 16 to 24. If I'm well, no, it's not quite 75%, but somewhere in the mid 60s, I believe. He was just good yesterday. Really solid. Found open receivers, played smart, didn't turn the ball over. And you see what a healthy Byron Brown means to this team. Of course, he was injured last year, didn't play, or only played in 6 games. Returning this year, looked healthy, looked good, ready to go. I am excited for him. I hope he stays healthy. That's the biggest question mark to USF. That's the biggest reason why I think I hesitated on them in the American, because his health is ultimately going to be the most important thing to this team. You saw a little bit from Alvon Isaac. He was solid. 3 carries, 52 yards. Chaz Nimrod, 3 receptions for 96 yards. He was great himself. The fake punt pass in the third quarter really turned this game around. Ended up being a touchdown. Changed the game, ultimately. Put all the momentum in USF's favor, and they dominated the rest of the way. They lost time of possession, as you see on the screen, by over 12 minutes. I believe Boise State was 36 minutes and 23 seconds, while USF was 23 minutes and 36 seconds. It was close to 13-minute difference. It was an impressive game from USF. I mean, their defense looked good. Todd Orlando, early signs, early returns. This is a good defense. Now let's talk about Boise for a minute, because Maddox Madsen threw for 225 yards and a touchdown, but he was just above 50% passing. Sire Gaines was solid, but the entire Boise State run game wasn't great. They lost the turnover battle. They had 3 fumbles in this game that they gave away. They had a 4th fumble that they recovered. And then they couldn't convert 4th downs. And that was probably the biggest question and the biggest problem. You could tell how much they missed Ashton Jeanty. You could tell that maybe this team may not run the ball the same. The offensive line didn't look worse. They just didn't really run the ball very well. It'll be interesting to watch. A lot of people made mention, you can tell this team misses Ashton Jeanty. Well, they were going to, plain and simple. There was no question in my mind that this team was going to miss him and what his production was last year. How did they answer? How did they push forward? How did they build into 2025? And the answer was they looked to throw the ball a little more. They 46 passing attempts. I probably can only count maybe one or two times that Madsen did that the entire year last year, if that. I mean, it would be I'd be hard pressed to find a game where he did. As a matter of fact, I can go look real quick at his profile and go through last year's we can go through last year's numbers. In 2024, he had only one game of 40 attempts or more, and it was 40 on the dot when he was 17 of 40 against Oregon in a 37-34 loss. Um, like it's just that's not normal. That's not the game that I think Boise State needs to play in order to win football games. So for me personally, they're gonna have to find the running game. They're gonna have to figure out who the number one back is. I thought Sire Gaines was good, but they had moments. Both running backs had their moments. They played okay. They weren't good. They weren't great. They were. I mean, they weren't even average. They were just flat out okay. Um, they've got some work to do as they push forward through the season. Um, and you know, a lot of people are looking forward to their trip to South Bend. I mean, if they play like this in South Bend, they're gonna get run off the field in the first half. There's a lot of question marks. I think there's a lot of wondering what the Mountain West is going to look like. I mean, I've seen people, and I'm one of them who's certainly a lot higher on San Jose State now after seeing three of my top four predictions play so far. We'll see UNLV again tonight. We'll see San Jose State again tonight, or again for the first time tonight. Um, San Jose State right now, I think, might be an early overreaction favorite in the Mountain West. I say overreaction because that's what it would be. I mean, we don't really know what anybody's going to be or what the year's going to bring for some of them, but it's it's going to be a long year, I think, over there in Boise if this is how things continue. So um, we will we'll keep our eyes out over there, keeping things in mind, and obviously we cover everybody around here, so we'll be talking Boise State pretty much every week. Well, it will be every week. We cover everybody again. We saw a few other games that FBS, FCS games. Bowling Green took care of business, 26-7 win over Lafayette. We saw Delaware beat Delaware State 35-17. That was the first coaching appearance for Deshaun Jackson as the head coach of Delaware State, so that was fun to watch. They played well, kept themselves in the game. So was impressed. I really like Jake Thaw, man. Talked about him in the Conference USA preview. 7 catches, 92 yards, and a touchdown. Looked good. The Michigan transfer out there in FBS action for Delaware. St. Francis loses to UL Monroe 29-0. That was a pretty solid start. Again, Bryant Vincent has done a great job in UL Monroe. I mean, sure they didn't do anything impressive. They didn't do anything crazy, but a 29-0 win still good for them. Missouri took care of business against Central Arkansas, and I'm going to be honest. I've eaten crow a little bit in the early going. If I were overreacting, I would say Bo Prabula is really good. But I'm not going to do that because it's an FCS opponent. Let's see what happens. They do have Kansas coming down the line. We will continue to look, but they look good. Missouri had a really solid game offensively. A lot more impressive than I expected them to be in this game. I didn't. Again, it's week one. It's Central Arkansas, you know, and I'm not saying Central Arkansas is bad. They've been pretty solid. They've played well in the UAC, but there's still a difference to be had, and I need to see it. Need to see it against an FBS team. We'll get that next week, but early returns, Prabula was good. Sam Horn did get some playing time, but ended up getting hurt, I think, on his first snap of the game. So it's really unfortunate because Sam Horn sat back, waited his turn, wanted to come back and play another year. I'm hoping it's nothing too serious, but it looks like the Missouri starting quarterback job is going to be Prabula's going forward, which is what everybody expected. It's what I expected, but there was definitely some rumblings that it was going to happen. There was going to be a battle that maybe lasted into the season, and that's what happened. But Prabula went out, earned it, took it. Now let's see how they move forward. I'm excited for Missouri. I think that this was again, I don't want to overreact because I don't want to sit back and say that this was a great win. You know, they look great, but they looked really good. They played solid. Let's see it as they move forward. The other reason I'm kind of doing this, the reason I'm going the way I'm going about this is also because I did predict them 5-7. I'm not going to sit here and change my tune and be like, oh man, Missouri's good right after week 1 because I predicted them to be bad or bad by their standards. Missouri fans, you were mad at me, and rightfully so. Anybody whose team I predict to be bad, I understand that you don't like that prediction. Who does? I don't like seeing my teams get predicted bad. You know, I'm a Giants fan. I watch my teams get predicted to go 6-11. So I get it. I understand that. I'm trying not to be that guy that goes, man, I don't really buy into Missouri, and then after one game, especially against Central Arkansas, buy in. That's a little fake. That's not the way it rolls. I'm gonna wait. We're gonna see a couple more games, then we'll make a full on adjustment if we need to. Duke and Elon. Duke wins 45-17. This game was tied at 10 at halftime, and then Darian Mensah went absolutely insane. Anderson Castle, 3 carries for 69 yards. He's not the fastest running back out there, but he is solid. And a transfer from Appalachian State, played well in his few snaps that he got the ball. But Darian Mensah, 389 yards, 3 touchdowns, 27 of 34 passing. He looked good in his Duke debut over there in Durham. They get again a 45-17 victory over Elon. Oklahoma State 27-7 win over UT Martin. Not really impressed. Zane Flores 136 yards passing. I don't know if they split time with their quarterbacks. I would assume. I kind of hope they did, and they did a little bit. You see Haas Haney 5 of 10 for 96 yards and a touchdown. Overall 232 passing yards. Haas Haney had 4 carries for 27 yards, which is kind of where he fits into that. But this team overall did not look very good. I mean, the time of possession was even. They won the turnover, they won the turnover battle 1-0. Led the rushing battle, 127 yards there, 232 passing yards, but it just wasn't great. This is an Oklahoma State team that I'm down on. I've already kind of mentioned that. This game, seeing the little bit that I got to see of it last night, it did not invoke confidence going forward. I'm going to be very, very hesitant on them. Houston was okay last night, 27-0 win over Stephen F. Austin, but I'm going to be honest with you, Stephen F. Austin's tough. That's probably the toughest FCS team that we watched last night, and Connor Wegman was all right, 15-24, 159, 3 touchdowns. Dean Connors looked all right, 15 carries for 50 yards. Tanner Koziel, the transfer tight end, comes in and 7 catches, 63 yards, leads the team, and also has a touchdown on the board. Houston's a team that, again, we're going to watch them build this year. This is game 1. I think they're going to look a lot better next week. You know, that's where the biggest improvement happens. At least that's what they say. But I think this team's going to improve all through the year. Need to go watch a little more of this game, see a little bit more about it before I make a full opinion about this team. But all in all, defense looked good. A 27-0 win. That's a decent start. UAB 52, Alabama State 42. Yeah, you heard that right. That was an ugly game last night for UAB. Again, they only pulling off a 10-point win. Alabama State, not a team that people expect to hang around, but you know, we could be wrong. Alabama State may end up being one of those teams that, you know, we talk about, but for right now, doesn't look great on the side of UAB. And then we have San Diego State, Stony Brook, 42-0 victory for the Aztecs, and Jaden Denegal, that was a guy I was looking for last night. Wanted to see what his first game looked like. 13-25 for 208, a touchdown. Added nothing on the ground. Actually, I'm surprised that we didn't see him anywhere on the ground. But we saw a little bit of Burt Emanuel Jr. as well towards the end of that game. 3 of 4, 19 yards, but added a little bit on the ground. He had 24 yards. And I apologize. Denegal had 7 carries for 12 yards. I mistook that. Would imagine some of that sack yardage coming off, but nonetheless, a decent start there. I believe this to be year 2 for Sean Lewis, but a really good start, strong start. Again, Jaden Denegal looked okay last night. He was not great. There was nothing incredible about it, but they looked okay. I scroll down here as we go to find some of the FBS matchups, and I'll kind of start with some of the ones that we're not going to be talking about as much here. Minnesota with a 23-10 victory over Buffalo. Drake Lindsey eventually got going and looked pretty good. 290 yards, 2 touchdowns. Darius Taylor got the majority of the carries, 30 of them, in fact, for 141 yards last night. AJ Turner had 6 for 16 yards. We just didn't see a lot of him. We didn't see a lot of Cam Davis either. It looks as though PJ Fleck is going to put Darius Taylor out there, and he's going to be the one that gets a lot of carries. I still love this running back room. I think those three are going to be good, but it was pretty impressive to watch. The Minnesota offense work. The defense looked okay. They gave up a touchdown in the game, but it's week one. I'm not expecting anybody to come out and pitch a shutout, especially against an FBS opponent. Buffalo looked all right though. They looked the part of a solid MAC team. We'll definitely be keeping our eyes on them as the season goes along. Wyoming with a 10-0 win over Akron. They had a touchdown late to push it up to 10-0, but it was not a great game, honestly. This was pretty ugly. Wyoming gets the win, but there's not a lot to add to this. These are two teams I think are going to sit at the bottom of their conferences, respectively. UCF with a 17-10 win over Jacksonville State. Taven Jackson, 17-24 for 282 yards. Had a decent game from... I'm sorry, I'm trying to see something here. Decent game for Miles Montgomery as well. Had 21 carries for 79 yards, no touchdowns, but he also added 71 yards on 3 receptions through the air as well. A pretty solid game there. Looks like Montgomery's going to be a guy they're getting the ball to. Even saw a little bit of Cam Fancher in this game. 5 of 9 for 32 yards in this one. Had a few carries for 39 yards. They were, again, okay. Jacksonville State looked okay. Gavin Wims at 15-29. 139 yards and an interception in the game, but added 28 yards on the ground. Cam Cook looked good, 17 carries for 75 yards. Also added 43 through the air. So Jacksonville State again looked okay last night. UCF looked, dare I say, kind of mediocre, but I mean that's what we're expecting. We're not expecting them to jump in with the Scott Frost era 2.0, as I've called it, and be great. So we'll learn a little more there. Moving into some of the bigger matchups we talked about yesterday. Wisconsin with a 17-0 win. The story there was Billy Edwards went down with an injury, was out for the rest of the game, went down early. But O'Neal comes in and plays okay. He wasn't great. They only went 17-0, one offensive touchdown in the game. What I noticed was both offensive lines were not all that great. I didn't really love what I saw there. The Wisconsin defense is going to be good. We've expected that. We've come to expect that. Mike Tressel does a great job there. I think that's going to be their point of contention this year. Where they compete is going to be with their defense. The offense has a lot of questions to ask. And as for Miami, Ohio, playing a tough defense like that, they did what they needed to do. They covered. I believe the spread was 17.5, and they lost by 17. They covered on the hook. But they need a little more. Their defense looks solid too. As a matter of fact, they look like they would certainly be a competitor. But who's to say that's not Wisconsin's offense being bad and Miami's defense being above average? Hard to say. They competed though. They played a decent game. Just need to see more from their offense. Their O-line didn't look all that great themselves. Was that Wisconsin's defense being good? Who knows? But that's a storyline to watch because Miami's kind of one of the favorites in the MAC. So that's a team we'll keep our eyes on, of course, as we do with everybody. But we'll keep our eye on that as well. We talked about Minnesota, Buffalo, NC State, and East Carolina. This game came down to the wire a lot more than we expected, and East Carolina had a late game kind of charge, 10 points in the fourth quarter to make a 24-17 game. Had potential late to maybe make something happen, but they end up falling by 7. But Caden Hauser looked good, 30 of 44, 366, a touchdown. The offense did not change. that's what I can take away from this. The offense didn't change. They threw the ball. They went out and they made their plays. But it came down to NC State just being better early in the game. Took ECU a little bit of time, but they look good. I'm gonna be honest. ECU, another team. I'm not trying to overreact. We're week one's known for overreactions, but ECU looked solid in this game, especially as time went on. Rutgers only beats Ohio by 34-31, a late charge. It was 31-17 at halftime. Rutgers was ahead. And a third quarter charge led by Parker Navarro, who is going to be the heart and soul of this team from everything I've seen and everything we saw yesterday. That's what we're going to be talking about. But a 14-point charge to tie this game up, and then a field goal from Rutgers late to go on to win this game. Again, 34-31. That was a close game over there in Shai Stadium, or SHI Stadium, however you want to say that, up in Piscataway. Ohio looks good. They looked good. Rutgers offense looked good early, but the second half, the Bobcats figured it out. They're gonna be a tough team as well. We're gonna talk about South Florida and Boise State. Nebraska late with a late game interception to seal this one up. A 20-17 victory in Arrowhead Stadium. A good showing from Dylan Raiola in game one of the full-time era of Dana Holgerson as an OC. Isaiah Hunter looked good. Cincinnati, Brennan Sorsby looked good. That was probably my biggest takeaway. He was great on the ground, looked good through the air, took care of the ball. At the end of the day, you make a bad throw, or not even a bad throw. You took your shot 1-on-1 late in the game, down at the goal line. You throw an interception. You have to make a play at some point to get yourself down there, and that it just happens. You make a mistake. So. Cincinnati, solid. If that's what they're going to be this year, if Nebraska's as good as we think they can be this year, that's a solid game from Cincinnati. If not, then we might be talking a different direction. As for Nebraska, though, they looked okay. The offense again looked decent. Dylan Raiola looked decent, and the defense looked solid too. They played pretty well defensively. So. The Matt Rule year 3 thing, we'll see a little bit how we go there, but a good game there as well. So that was Thursday night. Let's go ahead and move on to tonight real quick. We'll get a little bit of a preview for tonight's games, and we've got a lot. I'm not going to talk about everything in detail. We got Tarleton State and Army, the first game that kicks off at 6 p.m. Expecting Army to win, but Tarleton looked good against Portland State last week. Michigan State plays Western Michigan. Michigan State's a 21.5-point favorite. Expecting them to take care of business. Same thing with Wake Forest over Kennesaw. App State and Charlotte in the Dukes Mayo Classic. We'll talk a little more about this one. I'm pretty excited for it. Personally, I will be in the area tonight. Not at the game, but I will be in the area. It's gonna be a fun matchup. I'm expecting App State to win this game. It's gonna be a close game. App State only a 3.5-point favorite. I believe that's pretty spot on. We're gonna see a lot. It's gonna be game 1 for Tim Albin, game 1 for Doel Logans. Let's see what happens. FIU, Bethune-Cookman, FIU, big favorite, should be. Illinois going to get a win tonight over Western Illinois. Kansas plays Wagner. Auburn and Baylor, really excited for this game. I'm taking Baylor to win that one down there in Waco. Just really buying into what they've got. They've got a lot of production returning. It's going to be kind of a feel-out process for Auburn's offense early. Will the defense be good? Did Auburn really make their moves in the receiver room? Can Eric Singleton and Cam Coleman take over a game? Who knows? But for right now, I'm looking at Baylor to pull off the win there in Waco again. Georgia Tech at Colorado. Georgia Tech's a 4.5-point favorite. Love this game. We'll talk more about it later, but I think Georgia Tech's going to be able to go on the road and pull off a pretty solid season opening win. UNLV at Sam Houston. UNLV has come down from a 10.5 to an 8.5-point favorite. Overall, though, expecting UNLV to kind of have the kinks worked out. They struggled last week against Idaho State. Didn't look great. With Boise State losing the way they did yesterday, UNLV comes out and dominates the game tonight. Maybe they're back in the conversation. Maybe we're back in on UNLV. I don't know. Hard to say. Again, overreactions galore in week 1. Central Michigan at San Jose State. Love that. That spread has jumped from 11.5 to 14.5. I got it at 11.5. And I'm buying it. I'm buying it at 14.5. I love Coach Ken. Love what they're going to do tonight. I think they are going to have a very successful game down there. Well, out there in San Jose, CEFCU Stadium. A lot of letters. A lot of letters for somebody who is relatively dyslexic. But yeah, anyways, that's what we got on tap for tonight. Let's talk Take 10 for a minute, real quick, if you'll let me. We've got 10 picks here. We were 1-1 last week. We hit on the under for Kansas State and Iowa State. We missed on the over for Fresno State and Kansas. This week we've got 10 full picks. We have all of our over-unders still, our win totals still in there. They'll jump in and they'll add to this record at times. But for right now, we're 1-1 after week 0. And we've got a lot to talk about. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're kicking it off with that San Jose State minus 11.5. I'm keeping it at minus 11.5. The reason for that is because that's what I got it at. You might still be able to find it, but I saw 13.5, and I would still take that 13.5 against Central Michigan. FAU plus 13.5 against Maryland. I like this FAU team. I think Zach Kitley's going to do a great job. I think that Caden Beltcamp's the guy that we're really going to be talking about after this game. I got FAU with the upset. I mean, I'm full on. I'm still taking FAU to upset Maryland tomorrow. It is tomorrow. That's what I'm taking. But 13.5, I love that cover. Georgia and Marshall, over 53.5. I think there's a feeling out process going to be happening for Georgia and their offense. And when I say that, it's not going to be a slow one. They're going to come out and they're going to find what's good and what works for them early. And they're going to score a lot of points. Marshall might score 2. So be it. But I think they'll get over 53. I think Georgia might cover that on their own. Louisiana, minus 13.5 against Rice. I really like that, sitting right at 2 touchdowns. And again, I'm trusting Walker Howard. I'm trusting what this Louisiana offense can be. Rice lost a lot last year, and starts a new era with Scott Bell as their head coach. We'll see what they look like, but for right now, I just like the continuity and what Louisiana looks like. Washington, minus 21.5 against Colorado State. I'm buying Washington. Buying Washington big here. Colorado State looks good. Seems like they can be a solid team this year, but I think Washington's got something to prove. They're going to come out and do what they got to do. South Carolina and Virginia Tech, I like the over, 51.5. I think South Carolina's going to score a lot of points. I think Virginia Tech's going to score some points. When I'm sitting here looking at 38-21, I think that's certainly an over. Georgia Tech and Colorado, over 51.5 again. When we're sitting here talking about 2 teams that can get into the 20s and even into the high 20s or low 30s, we're going to be talking about the over here. I think both these teams are going to score a little bit. Again, we don't know a lot about Colorado, so I think that's going to be where we really learn the most. But Georgia Tech's going to score. Haynes King's going to look good. I like the over. Ohio State, Texas, over 46.5. I sit on this simply because I think that both of these teams are going to put points on the board. I think these teams eventually are going to figure it out. There's too much talent spread throughout these offenses for them to not put points up. When I sit here and predict this game, and I can't remember what I predicted on Monday. Let me go back and look. I predicted 30-21. That's certainly an over. So I think over 46.5 is on the table. Memphis is getting 27.5 against Chattanooga. I think they're gonna march that number all the way up closer to 40. I just think they're that much better. Chattanooga doesn't look like they're going to be much improved from last year. And I'm excited for Brendan Lewis. He's going to get his first opportunity at Memphis as a starter this weekend, and I think they're going to take care of business. Last one, we got Arizona, Hawaii, over 52.5. Loved the Hawaii offense last week. They seem to really figure themselves out, get it put together. Arizona, I think, is going to score some points as well in this one, so I'm taking the over. Really like it this weekend. 52.5. Again, that's the number there. So we'll see how we do this week. I took a lot of time with this. That's the reason this video might come out a little bit late. We might be talking 1:30 instead of 1 today. Simply because it took me until this morning to really figure out what I wanted to do. So, yeah, with that said, we go back and we'll take a look at all that. We took a look at Friday's games or tonight's games. We took a look at last night. Let's talk about tomorrow for a minute. And no, I'm not talking about games tomorrow. We've already previewed the games for the week that we wanted to preview. We've already talked about Thursday. What we're going to be talking about today and right now is what's going to be happening tomorrow morning, and that is College Game Day in Columbus, Ohio, and it will be Lee Corso's final College Game Day appearance, and that's it's been emotional, I think, for everybody. Any college football fan, anybody who's a fan of College Game Day, has sat back and said, "Yeah, this is an emotional week. This is an emotional time," and certainly one of those where we we're just gonna remember a lot of the good times. Whether it's the SMU Houston game day, the F-bomb getting dropped, whether it's I think it was Cincinnati and UCF when he said these people don't give a shit. We have that dog is ugly. We have all the fake outs, all the headgear picks. Every single memory we've had throughout the course of time here. With Coach Corso and him being a part of TV and television. Remember, he was so hated when he first started. That was one of the biggest things I took away from the little documentary they did for him last week. How hated he was early by a lot of people, but he was a TV guy. He was made to do what he did, and it's awesome because. When I do a show by myself, it's hard to stay entertaining. It's hard to find that time to joke around, to make those jokes and say what you want to say, right? But he found a way to do it. And when he was doing his own stuff, when he was out there finding his way. And, I sit here and look at the way he's done it. I look at the way a lot of other people have done it themselves and put themselves, given themselves a bit of a following, if you will. And I'm not looking for a following. I'm looking for a community, I should say. But, people do that. People build those groups of people around them. And the way Coach Corso did it, that's a way that a lot of people should do it. It's the way the world should work, be good to one another. People may not always like you. People may not like the way you do things, but the one thing that a lot of people can never take away is that he was good to people. He was good to everybody around him. And that's something I take very, very seriously myself. Like you grow up learning to be just good to people, and good things happen. So that's one of the biggest things I'm going to take away from him and what I've learned and got to hear about him over the course of time. I don't know him. I've never met him. I wish I had the opportunity. I would truly, truly cherish that opportunity, but I don't, and I'm not looking for that opportunity because that's, I don't ever expect him to see this. But for me, he is going to be college football. He is the epitome of college football, and we turn on our TVs at 9 a.m. every Saturday, to watch Coach Corso and to watch, we tune in at 11:30, getting ready for picks and getting ready to see his headgear pick. It's special, and they've done a great job with where the show's going. It's going to continue to be good because you got the energy coming from Pat McAfee. You've got you kind of get the energy from Pat McAfee. You get the analytical side from Coach Saban. You get like the best of both of what Corso has always been able to do. And I think that game day is going to continue to be great. But as for Coach Corso, like it's just as a special person to the college football world, and I wish him the best. I wish him great health, the rest of the year and really for a long time to come. I mean, I really hope that we get to see him around just a little quite a while longer. Obviously 90 years old, it's hard to do all the traveling, and I'm surprised he's done it as long as he has, to be honest. But it's just special, man. It really is. That's Saturday mornings for all of us, and people like me who are 25. Like that's our whole life, and everybody going back to the 90s. Going back to Lee Corso's college football show. Like going back into the 80s and late 70s. I mean, that's that's our lives that we've all gotten to witness Lee Corso be a part of. And again, he's what makes college football special. He is a very he's an icon of the sport. He's the face of the sport in a lot of ways, and it's just really cool to get to see this happen tomorrow, and see what comes from it. See who he picks. Is he going to go with Texas, or is he gonna go with his first love and Brutus and put on the Buckeye the Brutus head one more time like he did the first time around when he started this. It's awesome. There's a lot of things we're going to take away from him, and there's a lot of things here that I have and have really learned to embrace. This is a I'm not somebody who played in college. I'm not somebody who had the ability um to be that kind of player. That's like I have to do this ground up. Build what I can and do what I can. Be who I am. Be myself around here. And a lot of that comes with a lot of serious, but there's a lot of joking around too, especially on Saturdays and Sundays, as you'll see in the live shows when BJ and I get to banter a little bit back and forth. There's a lot of things that we're going to take away. We're just going to continue to build here, and a lot of it's thanks to Coach Corso. So it's going to be special tomorrow. It's going to be very special, very emotional tomorrow, honestly. Thankfully, we will be off the air by 11:30. And you guys won't have to see me be a little emotional about it, because I have been. Really, that documentary got me, but it's going to be a special one. It's going to be a special one. So um, to close this part out, just thank you to Coach Corso, and for being a part of all of our lives. I think I could speak for everybody who's going to tune into this and see this far in. Thank you for being a part of our lives every Saturday morning, and even further than that back in the day. And again, just wish you a lot of health beyond college game day, beyond your time on our screens, and get to spend some time with this family. So yeah, very very special way to close this one out. And I'm excited for it. I'm excited for tonight's games. Hopefully you guys are too. Make sure you tune in. Again, let me know what you guys are excited for. Again, comments. Let me know your favorite Coach Corso memory or Coach Corso moment over the years. We've had so many great ones. Would love to see that kind of stuff in the comments down below tonight. And we'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Again, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We will be live for a full preview of the day here on Armchair Analysis. So I thank you all for tuning in. Hope you all have a great rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend. If you're going to a game, be safe. Be safe. Drink responsibly. Have a good time. Enjoy it. It's college football. It's week 1. It's back. And again, we'll see you guys tomorrow live for the week 1 preview show.